Hi everyone and welcome back to Koala's Creep In. I am Koala and this is my Creep In. My little nook in the World Wide Web. The space of the World Wide Web. So, today I wanted to talk to you about, I would like to say dualism within shamanism. But mostly I want to talk about toxic masculinity and sacred masculinity. And I believe that all people, every one of us, has both the sacred masculine and the sacred feminine within us. We all have all those energies, and these energies can come out as traits if we embody those energies. However, the energies of sacred masculinity and the sacred feminine has little to do with being a man or being a woman, being manly or being womanly or feminine. It's because those are constructs, just like gender is a social construct, so are manliness and being a woman and those sort of things that we sometimes confuse with masculinity and femininity. And I know that as a trans person, I needed to embrace my mine and other people's sacred masculinity in order to feel comfortable with myself and to really embody and welcome my own masculinity, my own masculine side. So it took a long time for me because I was, as most of us are, raised in a world with toxic masculine, like all of us are. What am I talking about? All of us are raised in a world and in communities where toxic masculinity is kind of up here, and we all have to deal with it in one way or another. And for me, I could never really identify with that type of masculinity, those traits that toxic masculinity embodies. And that's why it took such a long time for me. And then there are different reasons why I couldn't see that, why I couldn't see the sacred masculinity that led me to really be able to be myself. And before I go any further, I want to apologize for the wave because I'm sitting on a surface that's not flat, and yeah, it's a bit of a mess over here right now. Still under renovations, this apartment, so I'll have to make do. Anyway, so as I said, I do believe that all of us have we have a core of sacred masculinity and a core of sacred femininity within ourselves, and it doesn't just we don't just need to merge these and balance these between those two aspects. Is not just a matter of having these two. Of course, we need to rid ourselves of the conditioning of toxic masculinity and also the conditioning of toxic femininity. That is a thing. Of course, it's a thing. It's toxic femininity that makes some mothers uh, make their daughters do certain things that they don't want to do with their lives, and that it's it's the toxic traits of masculine and feminine that has in my opinion contributed to the gender philosophies of the past, I think. The social construct of genders, and we need to there's a lot of talk about like crushing the patriarchy and that sort of thing. And yeah, of course, we need to have a different system in place. in the world, for the world to be successful, for humans to be successful, and for us to be successful as individuals. But we need to know what we want instead. So what do you want instead of the patriarchy? What do you want to see instead of the toxic masculinity that is currently having such a monopoly in the society today? And I know what I want. I want, like, what is it? I'm wondering why my camera is not really on board right now. So I know what I want, and the it seems like my camera disagrees. I don't think my camera feels the same. I think my camera is like, are you sure you know what you want? Um, anyway, so what I'm gonna rephrase that. So, as I said, I couldn't really find myself. This is becoming ridiculous. Come on, camera. Come on, camera. I love you. You love me. Come on. Um, so I think I'm gonna wrap it up before my camera just shuts down. So, as I said, I couldn't really find myself. Now, I happen to be trans, but you don't have to become or be trans when you embody the sacred masculine, because embodying the sacred masculine pushes out the toxic masculine. Um, and for me, it was a mix of both. It was like the sacred masculinity was coming forth, and it was like tapping my shoulder like this, and it made me able to really, like, crack that glass ceiling that the toxic masculinity was, and I could see the pieces for what it was. And I, I know I couldn't be myself because, or before I saw toxic masculinity for what it was, which is toxic, and which is and it also made me understand why I could never really find myself, because the toxic masculine wasn't what I identify with. So in order for me to find myself, I needed the sacred masculine to come and take a place inside of me, or put a light inside of me. But I also needed this balance between the sacred feminine. So I worked with the sacred feminine for years, and it made me able to hold the sacred masculine in place. So I opened up my heart to the sacred feminine first, and it made me able to see the sacred masculine and to hold it long enough to heal within me, so that I could then merge these two into what needed to be inside of me for me to find myself. So I think when each individual on this planet has a balance between these two sacred aspects of the cosmos, that is when each individual finds themselves and can really truly live their truth, regarding of what truth that is. It will always be a loving, a kind-hearted, um, and a positive light truth. It will never be a dark one, because that's not what these energies are. It will be a balanced one. We will still all have our shadow aspects, and the darkness is still within us all. But the sacred feminine and the sacred masculine will help us um to see those aspects of ourselves, to accept them, to forgive them, to love them, and to feel a bit more, to feel whole, not just a bit more whole, to feel whole. So, um, yeah, so I don't really had a plan for this video. I never do. But please just let me know in the comments what you think sacred masculinity is, what you would like to see in the world. What would you like to see instead of this toxic patriarchal system that we have now? Uh, because the answer isn't the complete opposite, which it would be a matriarchy of some kind, or like the sacred feminine ruling the world completely by itself. I believe that the answer is somewhere in between the sacred feminine and the sacred masculine, and somewhere in balance with those two. So let me know in the comments what that would look like. And if you don't yet, please subscribe for more videos. They're all not all this shaky. And yeah, someday I'll learn how to edit as well and not just rant on. But anyway, I kind of like the format of my videos. I think it's yeah, and I think I know you do too. So give me some love in the comments. I give you all the love that I have from both sacred masculine and the sacred feminine. So, which are aspects that we work with within the shamanic practice. Most often you hear about the sacred feminine because the sacred feminine has had so much, it hasn't been able to take so much place for such a long time. It's been like this and pushed away. So it's not wrong and it's not surprising that the sacred feminine needs to be to have a space and to have a space within us and to give us healing. We all of us need that healing, but we also need the sacred masculine to heal us as well. We can't just have one without the other. And yeah, I think I think that a lot of a lot of people that identify as women, I would say, actually have the sacred masculinity all figured out. And they need the sacred feminine because that's the toxic femininity is in their ancestral lines that need to be healed by the sacred feminine, but their sacred masculine also needs to be held in order for them to heal. And for men, people that identify as male and was born assigned male at birth, I would say don't quite often have any of these figured out because they are brought up in a society that really pounds them with this toxic masculinity. Um, and we can see aspects of it in our daily life wherever we look, but they are also not, they also have the same feminine lines that we do. These toxic femininity where we are pushed into our shells, where we are pushed into roles that we don't want or need. And I read somewhere in the last week that it's not wrong for a woman to want to be a housewife, for example, because the lineages before us worked so hard for each individual to have the choice to stay at home or to have a career and to do whatever they want with their life. So neither choice is wrong. It just has to come from within our own hearts, our own sense of self, instead of being put onto us. And that is what I mean that the toxic feminine the toxic feminine energy has done for eons. That it has r- put roles and aspects onto us that we don't want or need, both genders on the binary spectrum I'm talking about now, because I'm talking about history. And historically we can only read about these two binary opposites, these dualities. um but when you have a balance within yourself of the sacred feminine and the sacred masculine, it doesn't make you a woman or a man or non-binary or gender fluid. It makes you able to make choices for you. It makes you able to feel who you are. And this is something that is put on you by not being able to do this is put on you by history and by the society, but it is your choice to heal it. And you can heal it for yourself, you can heal it for your children, you can heal it for your mothers and your grandmothers and your fathers and your grandfathers, and you can heal it for the world. So I think what I want is to is for each individual to have the tools and whatever else they need to find this balance within themselves so that they can be the best they can be and want to be, so that they can make choices for themselves. And because I think if each individual had exactly what they needed to make choices for themselves without any shame or guilt or any other toxic traits that society has put on us, everyone would make choices out of love and joy. No one would make choices out of hatred or any other dark aspect. So that is what I would like to see in the world. I think I will end on that note and just remind you to subscribe to my channel, and you will get more of these little ranting videos, but you will also get some ceremonies that are coming up once a month for my English, connected to my English website and my English Facebook page, Dreamers One. And of course, you will get the rest of the rune meditations. I have done 3 so far in English, and I will do 21 more in the coming year or so. So I will see you on the World Wide Web and in the World Wide Web. So walk in beauty, and as I always end my videos, xingeling.